Hello, friends. Are you ready to learn a communication skill that can transform your relationships and even transform your life? Awesome. Let's get started. I'm Kristin Collier. I'm a writer and a coach helping people rewire their brain for more joy, better health, and happier relationships. And today I'm so excited to teach you a communication skill that can change so much. First of all, why would we even want to have that kind of transformation? It's not always obvious. Health is one of the biggest reasons. Did you know that research has found that people who are happier in relationship at age 50 are actually healthier, both mentally and physically, at age 80. That's massive. We know that stress affects all of our body systems, our autonomic nervous system, our circulatory system. That affects our skin, the way we breathe, the way that we feel, our hormones, all of it. And so your health is related to the way you relate to other people. It's related to stress, and joy is the antidote to stress. And if you can have more joy in communication, which, by the way, I have a joyful communication free workshop coming up. Would love to share that with you. Link is in the description. Would love to share this tool because it is different than the ones I'm teaching in the Joyful Communication Workshop, and it can really do an overhaul. Okay, I have been helping people to transform their lives for over 20 years now. I co-wrote a book on communication that's been translated into 5 languages, but my crowning achievement was saving my own life when I was really struggling with incredible pain in all 4 of my limbs and my neck, and overcame that through these communication skills combined with the practice of joy. So would love to delve deeper into that with you at the free workshop. But right now, that transformational skill, are you ready? Okay, it has to do with open-ended questions. So open-ended questions, but not just any open-ended questions. Open-ended questions about the other person's inner experience. Okay? That's really important. So there's kind of 3 facets here. That the open-ended, that the inner experience is what we're looking for, and that I want to know about. So 3 facets, 1 skill. And the reason it's important that you want to know about it is because if you're not curious, the first thing that can really include you in a conversation is curiosity. And the first place to put that curiosity is on yourself. I want to know, what do I want to know about this? Because otherwise I'm going to be taking a backseat position on this conversation. I'm just You know, you've been there, and you've certainly been with somebody else who is responding that way. It's not very interesting. It's not very engaging. So we're going to do it differently. And I'll give you an example of with and without. We actually did the without. Is That's it. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's like a flat soda. But if we do an open-ended question with something we're interested in, I'm going to use the example of my friend Mary. My friend Mary tells me that her daughter just got accepted into college. Her daughter got accepted into college. And this skill gives me a lot of different directions to go with it. Am I going to ask, tell me about the colleges she applied to? That would be an open-ended question, but it would not be about Mary's inner experience. So I'm going to want to know about Mary's inner experience. One easy question to start with is, wow, what's that like for you? Okay. What's that like for you? Now, the funny thing is, if I cough that out right off the bat, it may not actually be that exciting for me because I haven't taken a moment to inventory what am I actually interested in this conversation. The thing that I'm actually interested in, and this is not a leading question, I'm aware, because it is socially unacceptable, but the thing I want to know is, how much is that going to cost, and is she going to be able to pay for it? I'm curious because I'm another parent, and my kids are, we were saving for them for college too. Not so long ago. So what's that like for you? If I know I want to find out more about the money, I am more willing to be curious about this. But the funny thing is, as soon as I invest my curiosity in this, and I've already turned my curiosity on to find out what am I interested in, right? So I turned it on to myself, and then I'm shining it over here. What's that like for you? And she says, oh my gosh, it's amazing. She applied to like 6 different colleges and she got into the first pick. I can't, her top pick. I just can't believe it. It's such a relief. So I get excited because here's what happens. As soon as she feels my real curiosity, it was about something else actually, but I brought it over here. I found the opening. I found the place where my heart went open. I want to be in this conversation. So I found that curiosity, and then she felt it and she poured out what mattered to her in her heart, how she felt about it. She was super excited. And when that happened, my mirror neurons went crazy. We were wiring and firing. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So I felt it in my body. And she felt it in her body, that entrainment, that connection. Our pupils are dilating together. We're starting to breathe together. There's an amazing amount of things that happen when we are fully connected in a conversation in a felt way. And our conversation may lead over eventually to how much it cost, or it might not, because I may get lost in how exciting this whole thing is now that I'm not just following her, but we're co-creating it. I can keep asking more questions. She tells me all about the application process. I might be really interested in finding out more about what's that like for her. So I ask her, so were you giving, what kinds of help were you giving her? And so the times of help go in there. And that, if I just said, did you help her? Yes or no question, right? And we're not in an open-ended question anymore. But I'm curious and it's unfolding. So here we have a conversation that is not a monologue. It is dynamic. One person starts talking, another person's interest pops in. Even though my initial interest was money, as she started going, I got really excited about her enthusiasm. And now I have interest in more things. There's more flow for me. So I'm moving into it that way. Very, very cool. So when you get started using this skill, know that you don't have to ask all open-ended questions. You could ask some closed-ended questions that are just short one-word answers, and those can open the door to other bigger, more open-ended questions. That's totally fine. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I don't really have time to have that kind of a conversation with people. And who would I have that conversation with anyway? Here's the thing. You might be even thinking, I'm by myself. I live by myself, so I don't really have conversations with people. Well, I encourage you to get out and have conversations with people if that's the case. But we always have more conversations than we think that we have, because it might be the person at the grocery store. If we go to work, or even we don't go to work, we could work from home. We almost certainly are relating to people at work. And the interesting thing about work, you would think, oh, that's supposed to be all work related. But even work related things, we have feelings about. And when we ask each other how we feel about something, or what was that like to do X or Y, what happens is that it opens a space where people start to trust each other in sharing their feelings. And when we share our feelings and trust each other, we're willing to take more risks. And those risks, because we feel safe, are something that really helps business grow and change. And I have seen the businesses that I've worked for have transformed because of the way these skills are used. I worked for a nonprofit organization that grew with over 60 employees more than when we started. And slowly it transformed in the way that the meetings were run and people were interacting. And that was in large part because of the way I was living these skills. Now, I was actually teaching communication skills within the organization at the time, but I didn't say, oh, everybody has to use these. And I was only one very small facet. But when people interacted with me and they felt and saw the results, that rippled outwards. And when the executive director had challenges with things and she came and asked my thoughts on them, we talked about it and slight changes were made. And as we invest more time and energy into getting to know each other, in opening our hearts and getting gratitude, and that's what this open-ended questions really does. It opens our curiosity. And when we open our curiosity, we really do open our heart. So really excited to see how you use this. I would love to hear in the comments. Take this home and use it. I want to say I use this with my relationship with my mom, transformative, my relationship with my spouse. We've been married over 30 years, with my kids who are adults now, ages 22 and 25. And those guys have gone on to start a business of their own. They have 7 employees already in 2 years. That's where their college funds went to start that. And they really did it on their own. And they credit this work to giving them the communication skills to be able to connect and work effectively with other people. They came out of being this household with so much confidence because there was a clarity about our care from the time they were really young. And again, that question comes back. I don't have time to do this. People ask me like, oh, why do you want to take that much time to discuss with your kids about whether they're going to put their shoes on or not to leave a friend's house? Like, our feelings matter in this. And later on, that's an investment in relationship. And when they were teenagers, we had way fewer conflicts. I'm pretty darn sure, because we had so much trust that was built in each other from having these kind of conversations from the beginning. Another thing that could stop you from using this tool is that, and if this happens to you, you're not alone. I've had it happen to me too. You might think to yourself, I'm not that interested in other people. And it's kind of embarrassing, right, to admit to yourself and others. But here's the thing, it's not totally your fault, because our culture is not very invested in listening to each other. And that means that inside of you, there are probably a million stories you are so excited to share, and you're trying to process emotionally on your own. But humans are herd animals. We are wired to support each other. And yet this is not a big piece of our culture right now. And we've lost skills in how to do that. And so you are very possibly overwhelmed by your own experience. And when you get a chance to talk, you might even monologue. I've been there, done that. And in certain circumstances, not even so long ago. But that's the thing about building awareness around this, right? This is something that has to be actively plugged in. You can learn this skill, but if you're not practicing this skill, then it's really not getting out there and benefiting your relationships. And it's something that I have to stay on top of on a regular basis. But this thing about not being interested in others, the in spot is in stretching enough to find something. And this is the key piece about, what do I want to know about? What angle of this do I want to know about? Because I know, and I do know from experience, that if I invest in listening to this person about something that I do remotely care about, that they're talking about, it will open the door, and slowly I will very likely become more curious. And they will become more interesting because they will actually share what they're passionate about instead of talking in a monotone about really surface level things. And then all of a sudden, a conversation that started out about logistics turns into something where a whole bunch of their heart and soul is pouring out, and you're getting other pieces from their background. And you're like, wow, I never knew this about this person. And that makes it so you get more interested in others. And remarkably, not only first does that feel good, that heart connection feels good as you're listening, but on top of that, when they have been listened to that degree, they feel so relieved of that inner noise that's been built up of them not being able to be heard like that. Now they are relieved of that. They're open, they're spacious. They are more likely to be curious about what's going on for you. And so you get a chance to be listened to. And if you remember what it's like to fall in love, that is the beauty of falling in love, is that both people are so curious about each other. They are fascinated. They want to know more. Tell me more. One of the most favorite things that we can say to someone, because they just, we want to share more. When we share more, we actually are able to see and understand our own world better on the outside in ways that we couldn't when it's stuck in here, So we really kind of need each other. It's like we're rolling out this big map on this big table and saying, look at the places I've been, look at the places I'm going. That is what helps you be interested in others, is that interest is really like part of a mutual interest in others and in yourself. And it feeds back and forth as you show an interest in one another. And that's how you build a relationship and you transform yourself. I've also seen this work, the benefits of it, ripple out through my clients' lives. I've heard multiple people tell me that it saved their marriage. And that leads to the Joyful Communication class that I will be teaching a series on joyful communication, including this topic beginning in April. And this weekend, and if you're watching this March 22nd and 23rd of 2025, there is a special free workshop, and we're going to be then doing a very special package and offer around that joyful communication class coming up. So I really hope that you check that out. Check out what I've got to offer. Leave comments, because when you share this video with somebody else, that means that you are a part of the communication rippling outwards. You're a part of people becoming curious, opening their hearts, and beginning to connect with each other in new ways, really, really making a difference. So I thank you so much for watching. Like, share, leave a comment, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I'm going to send another one. There's going to be a second video with more information in it coming very soon. Have a great day.